welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, we're going to be discussing how I maximize my sessions as a BCBA. I had to preface with today has just been a crazy day for me. I actually didn't go to work today because I was able to meet all my units by Thursday, so I'm very happy about that. But I did get my first ticket. Just had to vent to someone and say that. I just can't believe it. I did get my first ticket. I didn't do a stop correctly or in full. So honestly, he was so mean, but it's okay. I'm just I'm still processing that. I was so nervous. I didn't even question him. I was just okay, here, officer, license and registration, here you go, and whatever. We moved on. But overall, that did not ruin my day, and we are still having a great day. And I wanted to film this video because I always get a lot of questions from my other BCBA friends. They ask me how do you not write session notes at home? How do you get your treatment plans done on time? And a whole bunch of different questions, because I honestly do pride myself in saying that I'm very good with time management. So I did want to share this video for any other BCBAs or RBTs looking to become BCBAs to understand how I try to work only when I'm billing, and everything else I come home and I get to do all my hobbies. I have so many. I've been into running, I've been into working out, I've been into junk journaling, so many things. I'm skating too, so roller skating, by the way. So I just have time to do all that, and sometimes I get messages from people how do you have time for all that? Did want to make this video to let you know how I maximize my sessions. Okay, so my first tip to maximize your sessions and to make sure that you have time for yourself, because our job is very demanding. Anyone that says otherwise is lying, because we have a lot to do. We have to prioritize our clients, we have to make sure they're showing progress, we have to talk to their families, so it's a lot, honestly. If you feel overwhelmed, a lot of BCBAs do. I'm so happy that I'm past that hurdle, but if you're a newer BCBA, I totally understand, and I'm here for you if you ever have any questions. To start off, I do want to mention that you need to really plan your schedule accordingly. So I say this because I really don't see clients more than once a week, unless they're a lot more hours and they need more support. But for the most part, I do see my clients once a week only. Of course, if the RBT needs help, they can message me, we can talk about it and things like that. But really, I think I don't see my clients more than once a week because there is a lot of traffic in Miami. And so if I'm able to knock my clients down one day, that's how I do it. For example, I have one client who is a 30-hour case. I do knock him out in one day. Again, although he's 30 hours, he's not as super severe. So, and the RBT is comfortable with that. I always ask my RBTs and get their input. If they need more support from me, of course I give them more support. But in this case, once a week has been fine. He only receives services for, he's not reaching his 30. Let's just start by that. But he only receives services 4 times a week. So I see him one of those days. So he is a 30-hour case. So our company, the way they do it, we have to meet the 10% for supervision and 5% for parent training. And I knocked that out in one day. So basically, I am there for practically 4 hours. He starts session at 10:45 and I end there at 3:15. 3:15. That client in particular is in Aventura, and if you live in Miami, you know how difficult it is to be in Aventura. Honestly, the traffic there is insane. I know Kendall is also horrible, so going down south and going to Aventura is just horrible. So, and honestly, a lot of my other clients are in Pembroke Pines, Miramar. They're not anywhere near Aventura, so I do have to only see him really once a week. But let me go through exactly how I schedule myself for him. Okay, so my next tip that I'm going to give you is to make sure you set a schedule for yourself every single session that you're there. Honestly, nowadays, I no longer need that schedule because it's the same routine every time that I see one of my clients, but we're just going to do this one together. So let's start off with parent training. So like I mentioned, I need the 6 units for him, which is an hour and a half, because, BCBA's bill 4 units is 1 hour. So I need 6 units for this client. So it's an hour and a half. So I have actually set a schedule to help you. And so you can see how I kind of structure myself. So I pretty much do 15 to 30 minute increments. I like to time block, which time blocking, they sell planners like this one. That is what a time blocking is. So I do typically time block my sessions so that I am able to maximize that. Like I mentioned, now I don't need to write everything down, but as a new BCBA, I was writing it down exactly what I needed to tackle. Okay, so for the 6 units of parent training, this is how I typically do it. So from 10:45 to 11:15, you come in, and of course you're not gonna go straight into the parent training. Like, you're gonna talk to the parent, you're gonna say hi, like, how are you? How was your weekend? How has the client been these days? Like, how are you doing? We have a little conversation. I talk to the RBT, say hi to the client. Of course, like, we need to also be nice to the RBT and the client, because they are present. Well, for this family at least, they are usually present. I like to do my parent trainings when the client is present. That's just a personal preference for me. I think like they're able to see like me implement strategies, me run sessions. So I like when that happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's great. So from 10:45 to 11:15, we're doing a check-in. Moving on from 11:15 to 11:45, here I am now really getting into the parent training. If I have a PowerPoint that I wanted to discuss with the parent that day, then I will present that. If I wanted to talk to them about, I don't know, any strategies or even follow up from the strategies that we spoke about last session, then I will do that during this time. After that, it's 11:45 to 12, and I can discuss like future goals. Usually I like to take whatever the parents think that their child is struggling with, and I like to brainstorm future program ideas and like ways to implement whatever the caregiver thinks that they're struggling with. Afterwards, it is now 12 to 12:15, and if you didn't know, I think insurances do approve the last 15 minutes of every session. You can start taking notes. So I'll thank the parent, for meeting with me, for talking with me, and then of course I'm writing my session note. I'll tell the RBT, let me just write this real quick, and I write down, everything that I discussed with the parent, and then you're done with your parent training. And that's pretty much the schedule I follow with most of my parent training sessions. Like I mentioned, I do like to tackle at least clients like this where it's very difficult for me to go twice a week. So I will schedule the supervision, which is 5-5, on the same day. So then after I'm done writing my note for my parent training, I render it complete. Don't have to worry about it later. And so we start off with the supervision session. So from 12:15 to 12:30, I am pairing with the client. I think it's very important as a BCBA to also have instructional control, to have a relationship with your client. It's not right if you're a BCBA just sitting in your computer the whole session. I think you should be active. I think you should be running targets, and you'll see that I do run some targets. I think that you should be, have a relationship with your clients. It's important. That is from 12:15 to 12:30. Moving on from 12:30 to 1, I really run a lot of trials. I make the RBT run some trials too. I want to see how they're running it. I give them feedback, throughout. Sometimes if the RBT is doing a great job, I'll do the feedback later on. But if I see, something I have to say, I say it in the moment. I run trials, like I mentioned. And then I also like to always incorporate fun activities. Maybe I bring slime. Maybe I bring a puzzle, maybe I bring anything, really, sensory toys, anything. I just do always think it's important. Me as a BCBA, I love buying new toys, so of course I bring them to my sessions. From 1 to 1:15, then I'm still looking at the RBT. Maybe we have some strategies we need to discuss, but I also do have to render appointments. So I do spend some time rendering appointments throughout the session. Maybe it takes like 10 minutes for me to just sign and save, but I'm still looking at the RBT running the session. Then after that, from 1:15 to 1:30, from 1 to 1:30, really, I do spend a good amount of time looking through each and every graph of my clients. I don't think many BCBAs do that. I do this every single supervision. I go and I check one by one each graph. Yes, I'm going through 30 to 35 graphs every time. I want to make sure that I catch if my client is not showing progress with something. I also want to catch if he's not showing progress with something, let me modify it to make sure he succeeds with it. Or if I have to put something on hold, I put it on hold. But I do like to hold myself accountable. I like when I am able to make changes early on, I really do prioritize client progress. That's the most important thing for me. So that is what I do every single session. From 1:30 to 2, I also, at the same time that I'm checking their programs, I'm also asking the RBT like, oh, how's he doing with this? Because I want to make sure what they are marking is what they are telling me, right? And I can always check. We use Catalyst, which is now in Sora. I can also check what the RBT is marking at the same time. So is it the same or is it not? Do I need to offer, suggestions to the RBT? Things like that. Afterwards, I do update plans if needed. I think it is very, very important to get as much done. Of course, maximize your session time. So I do, of course, I'm not working on some other client's treatment plan. I'm working on that client's treatment plan if it is needed. So throughout, I'm adding the programs. I'm maybe doing progress updates, checking the graph, all those things. And from 2 to 2:30, I then find new goals that I would like in the future for a client. I'm always thinking about, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? So if I added, tacting actions, what's the next thing that I want to do with that? Why did I add that program? Different things like that. I'm always thinking ahead, always thinking of the future. What else can I work on? So I do always set aside some time. Like I even asked the RBT, like, let's discuss this. What do you think about adding this? Do you have any program ideas for me? I think it's great to be collaborative with your RBT because you can get a lot of program ideas from them. We are almost done with the session. So then from 2:30 to 2:45, I really am giving feedback to the RBT, and I'm also filling out their log. At least in my company, we do need to fill out a log every supervision, and it is completed during that session. Very rarely do I not complete that feedback. I think it's very important for an RBT to get written documentation of their feedback, and so they can, see what you think, to see what they need to improve on. So I always, anything that I give as feedback verbally, I always write it down so that they have it to refer to. And then from 2:45 to 3, I'm already wrapping up. We might play a little game. We might start cleaning up. We might do, anything to wrap up the session. We might play a goodbye song. We might do a dance, anything fun. And then it is finally 3 to 3:15. By 3, I'm already heading out the door because, I probably have to get to my next client. 3 to 3:15, I already am taking my note. And something that I found very helpful, I cannot copy and paste, at least in my companies where we write our notes, we cannot copy and paste. So what I've been finding helpful recently is talk to text. That is pretty much it on how I maximize my session. Again, this is for a client who has 30 hours. For a 20-hour client, the supervision time and the parent training time is less, but relatively I am doing the same thing. If you need any other tips and tricks on how I maximize my session times, please let me know in the comments. It does really reinforce my behavior of posting. So I appreciate you so much, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.